He walked up to a rundown food truck, just another man in line. No one knew he was the billionaire CEO who built an empire. And the woman behind the counter, she had no idea she once saved his life with half a sandwich and a single scribbled napkin. When the cameras finally exposed him, her trust shattered in front of the whole city. But what he did next wasn't about money or power. It was about winning back the only person who ever saw him as human. Stay tuned. This story will break your heart and put it back together. Dawn slides over Maplewood, Tennessee, like warm butter on toast. Streetlights blink out as bakery doors clack open and buses cough gray breath into the cold. A food truck the color of a ripe peach idles at the corner of 5th and Alder. Hand-lettered on the side, Morning Haven. Steam blooms from the service window, carrying coffee, cinnamon, and something buttery. Workers fall into a line that looks practiced, like church pews on Sundays. Behind the counter, Lila Monroe moves like a memory she's repeated 1,000 times. Ponytail knotted high, white tee, sunflower shorts, eyes that make strangers feel like regulars. She flips the open sign with a fingertip and hums a tune her grandmother used to whistle. Then, she checks the griddle heat with a quick, confident palm hover chef's weather report. "Morning, y'all," she calls, voice bright without being sugary. "Give me 5 minutes and I'll make your day less complicated." At the back of the forming line, Adrian Cole stops short like he's hit an invisible wall. Navy coat open, tie already loosened, phone lighting his face with little emergencies. He should be in a glass tower 40 minutes from now. Instead, he pockets the phone and takes his place behind a mail carrier, eyes narrowing on the chalkboard menu. There's a tremor under his polished exterior, as if sleep dodged him all night. He combs a hand through his hair and exhales the kind of sigh that belongs to people who do math with billions. Lila sets down a stack of paper boats, quick counts burrito wraps with a glance. Under her breath, "Okay, we've got 8, 7, 6. A retired teacher taps the window, already grinning. "Lila, you still saving me the blueberry muffin that looks like bad decisions?" Lila laughs and slides the exact muffin into a bag. "Mrs. Dean, it only looks criminal, tastes like mercy." Adrian smirks despite himself, then checks the time. His watch feels heavy, like a handcuff disguised as jewelry. A tow truck rumbles past, and the line shuffles forward. Lila wipes a bit of flour from the counter with the edge of her palm. She calls out, "Heads up. Friends, 1 breakfast burrito left after this batch." Murmurs rise, sharp and hopeful. Adrian clears his throat, a move to claim the next slot. He steps forward, eyes on the last burrito chalked with a dramatic star. But Lila leans out the window and points to an older man, 2 people back. "Mr. Ramsey's been waiting since the bus dropped him at 6:20. He's up." The line tilts. A few nods, one quiet. "Surprised, oh?" Adrian blinks like he's missed a cue in a play. "Mr. Ramsey steadies his cane, face creasing into a boyish grin. "Bless you. Kiddo. Same order, no eggs, extra pico. You know I got you?" Lila says, already cracking knuckles over the griddle. She glances at Adrian just once, curious, not apologetic. Adrian steps aside, new to being invisible and finding it not entirely unpleasant. A ghost of a smile tugs at him like a tide. He studies Lila's hands while she works. There's no nail polish, just tiny flower maps on her knuckles and a silver ring that looks like it holds stories. Oil sings in the pan, and the last burrito becomes a tight, golden envelope. She tucks it into a boat, tapes a napkin to the top, and adds a tiny smiley face in green marker. "Lila, Mr. Ramsey says, "You're keeping me young." "Sir, I'm keeping you fed." She fires back, winking. Adrian is next, and Lila turns with the spontaneous focus of stage lights. "What's your situation?" she asks. Like a doctor diagnosing hunger. "Coffee," he says, then corrects himself. "Black? 1 sugar?" His voice is smooth but tired, like a record you still love that crackles at the edges. "Name?" she asks, already reaching for a cup. He hesitates a fraction too long. "Adrian." She scribbles Adrian with a star he can't interpret. Then she adds, "First-timer or undercover regular?" "Undecided," he says, surprising himself by smiling. "Maybe the coffee will sway me." "You want it honest or gentle?" "What's the difference?" "Honest bites back," she says, loading the filter with a bold roast. Gentle apologizes for being hot. "Honest," he answers. "I'm late already. Might as well be awake for it." She snorts, then quiets when the pour-over drip begins, like rain on a tin roof. The line moves in its usual choreography: construction jackets, choir members, a nurse on her way to night's end. Lila never fumbles. She just floats and lands, floats and lands. Adrian watches the steam curl and thinks about how long it's been since he stood in a line that didn't have an assistant buffering the world for him. He can't remember when a simple exchange felt like oxygen. Lila caps the cup, slides it toward him, and the pads of their fingers brush. It's the quick kind of touch that shouldn't register and somehow does. "Careful," she says. Softer. That one tells the truth. He holds her gaze an eyelash longer than strangers should. "Do you ever—" He stops. Catching the odd shape of the question, she tilts her head. "Ever what?" "Do you ever get that prickle? Like you've met someone in another life, Maplewood small. Chances are we've met at the grocery store arguing over the last decent avocado." He laughs. "Small and real. Fair enough. Come back tomorrow." "Adrian, undecided," she says, matter of fact. "We'll see if you graduate to muffin privileges." He swipes his card and steps out of the way, sipping after the third stir without knowing why. His face registers surprise like a quiet exclamation she wasn't bluffing about honest coffee. 2 officers step up, and Lila switches tone like a DJ switching tracks. "All right, heroes, I'm out of burritos. Today's survival pack is cheddar biscuit with jalapeno jam." Adrian drifts to the curb, watching her move through people like she's playing a song only she knows. He doesn't hear the city as noise anymore. He hears it as accompaniment. A teenager wheels by in a chair that's seen better days. Lila pops from the window with a paper bag. "Elijah, blueberry on me. You aced that algebra test, right?" Elijah lights up. 92, jam up front, you know it, she says, tapping the lid like a drumbeat. Adrian checks his phone, then locks it again without reading the message count. He looks like a man refusing a reminder. A gust of cold runs the block. Lila leans out to tighten the awning strap, hair catching the light like a match. The mail carrier calls. "Kiddo, you ever sleep only when the dishwasher sings?" She fires back, flicking the strap into place. Adrian finds himself speaking before his brain signs off. "This place, how long have you run it?" 3 years. She answers, pulling a timer from her pocket and resetting it with a click. "My mom called it the kitchen that rolls downhill, meaning feed whoever's in front of you. Is that your rule with the burrito?" "That's my rule with everything." He nods, feeling something uncoil in his chest. "Then I owe Mr. Ramsey a thank you for beating me to breakfast." "You owe yourself breakfast," she says, pointing the marker at him like a coach. "Coffee isn't a personality. It's a symptom." He opens his mouth to aim a comeback, then shuts it because she's not wrong. His laugh surprises him again. It's a sound he knows, but hasn't heard in weeks. She slides a small card toward him, stamped hours, a tiny drawing of a sun in sunglasses. "Hours change when it rains, and when I'm human," she says. "Both happen." He tucks the card into his wallet, where glossy business cards go to retire. See you tomorrow? Maybe, he says. And it lands like a promise he didn't plan to make. Tomorrow, she echoes, already serving the next person, but still somehow present with him. The word feels like a bridge she's confident will hold. He steps off the curb, coffee warming his palm through the paper. A bus whooshes by and pulls a draft across the sidewalk, tossing napkins like little white birds. Adrian catches one, just instinct. He stares at the blank square a beat too long, as if expecting a message to appear in blue ink. Across the way, a guitar busker tries to tune on a stubborn string. Lila tosses him a wrapped biscuit with a "play the good" chorus. The sky brightens by a degree. Maplewood remembers it's a small town with big mornings. Adrian takes another sip and makes a private inventory. He hates crowded rooms. He loves precision, and yet he's now thinking about a chalkboard menu. He tells himself he'll return for the coffee. A crossing guard waves a row of kids through the intersection like a parade. Lila claps twice, and the kids clap back like they've rehearsed it. He walks toward the corner where his driver usually idles. But there's no car today by design. He wanted to walk, to feel a street under his shoes instead of carpet that never ends. Behind him, someone asks Lila. "You hiring?" she answers. "Always hiring kindness." He files that away, an odd line that lands somewhere beside his ribcage. He doesn't know why it matters, only that it does. A breeze lifts the sticker on his cup. He presses it flat and catches the star next to his name. "Adrian," he repeats under his breath, like testing whether the name still belongs to a person or a company. It feels human again. He glances back one last time. Lila is laughing at something a nurse said, and for a second the whole corner brightens. He turns the corner and disappears into the city that expects him to be predictable. But his feet have already memorized the route back to 5th and Alder. A voicemail from his COO chases the moment. He lets it ring into silence. He takes one more sip, sweeter now, and smiles like a secret. "Honest," he says to the cup, and keeps walking. Morning arrives again on 5th and Alder. The line forms before the truck window even opens. And standing near the middle, Adrian looks strangely at home. He taps his foot while pretending to scroll his phone. The truth, he's waiting for the sound of her voice. The hatch squeaks open, and there she is, Lila Monroe. Hair pulled up, apron tied sideways. She grins like the street woke up just for her. "Back again." "Adrian undecided," she teases. "Guess I'll have to start charging you rent for that spot in line." He chuckles, sliding his phone into his pocket. "I thought about breakfast this time, but I don't want to shock my system." "Coffee isn't therapy," she fires back. "Though it does give you someone to blame when life goes sideways." He smirks. "And what do I blame when coffee runs out?" She says, dead serious. "And trust me, you don't want that smoke." The crowd laughs. And Adrian feels something odd community pressing against him, not boardrooms. When she hands him the cup, their fingers almost touch again. He steps aside, stirring after the third sip without thinking. And he wonders, how did she memorize him so fast? That night, city lights sprawl outside his penthouse window. But Adrian isn't looking at forecasts or mergers. He drags a small tin box from the bottom of a drawer. The hinges squeal, unused, like a memory resisting daylight. Inside, old receipts, a broken pen, and one folded napkin. Edges yellowed. The ink is faint but legible. "Don't forget, you still have a future." He traces the words with his thumb, throat tight. The memory plays like an old film reel, scratched but clear. A boy of 10, knees scraped, sitting on cold steps outside a shelter. His mother gone, his stomach hollow, his hands clenched just to stay warm. Then a girl sat beside him. She didn't ask questions. She just broke a sandwich in half and pushed it into his hands. Before leaving, she scribbled something on a napkin and pressed it to his palm. He never forgot the warmth of her eyes. Even if he forgot her name, he looks back at the napkin, whispering, "Could it really be you?" Across town, in a small apartment over a laundromat, Lila sorts through a shoebox of keepsakes, ticket stubs, a summer camp bracelet, a Polaroid with her brother pulling a goofy face. At the bottom lies a napkin folded so many times it could tear. She opens it carefully. The words, faded but still visible. "Don't forget, you still have a future." Her breath catches. The memory returns like a song you thought you lost. That boy on the shelter steps, quiet eyes, too old for his age. She remembers sitting down without hesitation. How familiar his loneliness looked. She whispers into the dim light, "Is it you?" The question has no answer, only silence. The next morning, Adrian lines up earlier than usual. He's not sure if it's the coffee calling or the pull of a possibility. Lila spots him and shakes her head. "You're either hooked or hiding. Which is it?" "Maybe both," he admits, voice low. "I've been accused of being predictable. I'm trying to prove them wrong." She laughs, pouring his coffee. "Predictable people don't stir after the third sip. They just drink." He raises a brow. "You've been watching me. Customer research?" She shrugs. "Or maybe I just notice." He leans closer. "Not everyone notices." She holds his gaze. "Not everyone wants to." The line shifts and the spell breaks, but the words echo louder than the morning traffic. Later that week, Adrian lingers near the truck longer than usual. Lila is crouched, tying a little girl's shoelaces. "Double knot," she tells the child. "Life's too short for tripping hazards." The mother thanks her, clearly moved. Adrian watches quietly. It's not staged kindness. It's muscle memory. When she returns to the window, she catches him looking. "You're staring." "You make it hard not to," he replies, then winces at his own honesty. But she doesn't flinch. She just smirks and slides him his cup. That night, Adrian can't shake the scene. He sits at his kitchen island, glass of scotch untouched. On the counter, the napkin rests like an old wound. And he remembers every deal. Every night he felt like a brand instead of a man. Yet in a food truck window, he felt human again. And the question gnaws at him. Is she the girl who saved me once before? Meanwhile, Lila scribbles notes in her recipe notebook. Next to a doodle of a sandwich, she writes, "Food should feel like home." Her younger brother, Ethan, leans in from the couch. "You're humming again." "That means you're happy." She blushes. "Just busy." But Ethan narrows his eyes like he can read her better than anyone. "Is it the guy with the nice hair?" She laughs too loud. "Go to bed, detective." Still, when the lights dim, she can't stop thinking of Adrian, and of that napkin tucked away like a secret mirror to her own. The following morning, Maplewood buzzes louder than usual. Street performers tune guitars, kids race scooters, and the air smells like butter and hope. Adrian is already in line. He rehearses words he never thought he'd say aloud. When it's his turn, he blurts, "You always remember what people like." "How?" Lila blinks at him, caught off guard. "That's the job, isn't it?" "No," he says, softer now. "Not like you. Not everyone does it like you." For the first time, she can't think of a quip. Their eyes lock, and something unspoken passes between them. A tether, invisible but real. The line nudges him forward, breaking the moment. He leaves with coffee, but also with a pulse in his chest that feels new. That night, thunder hums over the city. Adrian opens the tin box again, running a finger across the napkin. He whispers, "Tomorrow, I'll know for sure." The storm outside answers with a crack of lightning. Across town, Lila sits cross-legged on her rug, the napkins spread before her. She closes her eyes and whispers back into the silence. If it's really you, then maybe we were always meant to meet again. The rain begins to fall, steady and certain, and both of them, without knowing, are waiting for tomorrow. Rain slams into Maplewood like the sky finally let go. Umbrellas bloom across sidewalks, but the corner of 5th and Alder empties fast. The line at Morning Haven scatters, chairs tumbling in the wind. Lila rushes out, apron flapping. She bends low, trying to fold a stubborn metal table. Her ponytail sticks to her cheek, raindrops streaming down her arm. A voice cuts through the storm, steady, warm. "Let me help." She startles, looking up. Adrian stands there, already soaked, holding a black umbrella wide enough for two. "You're going to get drenched," she protests, wrestling the latch. "Too late," he says with a quick grin, grabbing the other side of the table. Together they snap it shut, rain hammering around them like applause. The umbrella tilts, covering her more than him. They duck under the truck's awning, breathless. Lila shivers, wiping her arms. Most people would have just run. "You're not most people," he replies, eyes never leaving hers. For a second, silence takes over. Only the rain speaks. He swallows, then asks, "Do you believe one moment can change everything?" She tilts her head. "Depends on the moment." His voice lowers, rough with memory. "When I was 10, I lived in a shelter outside Knoxville. My mom was gone. I thought I didn't matter." Her chest tightens. He goes on, "A girl sat down next to me. She gave me half a sandwich and a napkin." Lila's breath stumbles. The storm outside fades to a hum. "What did it say?" she whispers. His eyes glisten. "Don't forget, you still have a future." Her hand flies to her mouth. She sees it, the boy's trembling fists, the empty look in his eyes. Her own hand scribbling that message because words were all she had. "It was you," she breathes. His voice breaks. "I kept it all these years. It was the first time I believed anyone could see me." She wants to speak, but the words choke. Their eyes lock. Past and present colliding. The rain pounds harder. But between them, it's still. Neither moves, afraid the moment might vanish. The next morning, sunlight glints off puddles on Alder Street. Adrian approaches the truck with a quiet certainty. Lila already has his coffee waiting, but her hands tremble slightly. Before either can say more, chaos erupts. A black SUV screeches to the curb, cameras flashing like lightning. Voices shout over each other. Adrian Cole, CEO of Cole Dynamics. "Is it true you've been hiding here?" Lila freezes, the cup slipping from her grasp, coffee splattering the pavement. Her face drains of color. She stares at him. "CEO." Her voice is sharp, trembling. Reporters surge forward, microphones thrust into the air. "Are you living a double life?" Pretending to be an ordinary man. Adrian raises his hands. "Back off. This is private property." But the flood of cameras doesn't stop. Lila's voice slices through it all. "So the man who stumbled through coffee orders, who laughed in my kitchen, was that just a role you played?" "No." He steps toward her, desperate. "I swear, none of it was an act. I just wanted to be seen as me." Her jaw tightens. "You lied about everything, your name, your world. What else did you hide?" Crowds murmur, hungry for spectacle. He pleads, voice cracking. "I didn't want you to look at me like everyone else does. Not a title, not a wallet, just me." Her eyes burn with hurt. "Well, it's too late for that." She turns, stepping back into the truck. The door slams shut behind her, a sound louder than the shouting press. Adrian stands frozen in the storm of cameras, but all he sees is her back. The flashbulbs catch the pain on his face. A man undone. By afternoon, the truck is gone. The corner of 5th and Alder feels abandoned, like the song ended mid-note. Lila sits in her tiny kitchen apartment, laptop glowing. Her fingers hover over a classified ad for sale. Used food truck. Good condition. Needs love. The word love stings her chest. Tears blur the screen. A soft voice interrupts. "We're not cooking today." It's Ethan, her younger brother, hair messy, pajamas still on. She turns, throat tight. "Not today, buddy." He frowns. But it's Friday. Mama's melt day. Her sob breaks free. She pulls him close, clutching him. "I know. Ethan, I know." He hugs her back, eyes wide. "Did someone hurt your heart?" Her whisper cracks. "Yes." Meanwhile, in a skyscraper office high above Maplewood, Adrian stares at his reflection in the glass. The skyline glitters, indifferent. His assistant knocks lightly. "Mr. Cole, the Zurich investors are waiting." "Cancel it," he mutters. "Sir, they flew across the ocean. I said cancel it." The door closes. Silence swallows him whole. He reaches into his desk and pulls out the dented tin box. Inside, the napkin waits, fragile but unbroken. He holds it like a lifeline. "Don't forget, you still have a future." He reads aloud, voice trembling, and then softer. "But what good is a future without her in it?" He closes his eyes. The storm raging inside him, louder than the city below. And for the first time in years, Adrian Cole, the man with everything, feels like he has nothing at all. Night folds over Maplewood, heavy and restless. The food truck lot sits empty, only rain puddles reflecting neon signs. Inside her apartment, Lila stares at the glow of her laptop, fingers frozen above the keyboard. The ad is ready for sale. One truck, runs well, too many memories. Her chest tightens. Hitting post feels like a racing part of herself. From the couch, Ethan shifts under a blanket, watching cartoons with the volume low. His eyes flick to her, sharp despite his gentle voice. "You're not cooking anymore?" he asks. She shakes her head, trying to smile. "Not for a while." He frowns, twisting the blanket edge in his hands. "But you always say food makes people feel safe." Her lips tremble. "Sometimes, people take that safety away." He studies her, then whispers, "Did he?" The air freezes between them. Finally, she nods. Ethan's shoulders slump, but he leans closer, resting his head against her arm. "Then maybe he didn't deserve the sandwich you gave him." Tears blur her vision. If only Ethan knew that same sandwich once saved a boy's life. Across the city, Adrian sits alone in his penthouse. The skyline glows through floor-to-ceiling glass, but it feels like another planet. A Scotch glass sweats on the counter, untouched. He holds the napkin in his hand, tracing the faded blue letters. He whispers, "You told me I had a future, and I built one. But it means nothing if I can't share it with you." His voice breaks on the last word. The phone buzzes with relentless reminders: Zurich, Tokyo, board meetings. He silences everyone. For once, business can wait. For once, the empire isn't enough. Days pass. Maplewood murmurs with gossip whispers of the billionaire at the food truck. Cameras lurk at corners, waiting for the next spectacle. Lila doesn't step outside except for groceries. Her world has shrunk to the size of her apartment kitchen. She kneads dough out of habit, but it tastes like regret. Even the smell of cinnamon feels hollow. Ethan tries, in his way, to make her laugh. But when she smiles, it cracks too quickly. Then comes the night of the Maplewood Small Business Gala. Lila didn't plan to attend, but her friend Rosa insists, dragging her into a borrowed dress and soft curls. "It's just fresh air." "Lila," Rosa says, "you need to breathe again." Reluctantly, she agrees, though her heart isn't in it. The ballroom glitters with chandeliers and polished shoes. Lila keeps to the back, near the exit, clutching a glass of water she doesn't drink. Halfway through the evening, the MC announces, "Please welcome tonight's keynote speaker, Mr. Adrian Cole." Her breath snags. For a moment, she thinks about fleeing, but her feet root to the floor. Adrian steps onto the stage. No tie, dark circles under his eyes. He looks less like a titan of industry, more like a man carrying weight he can't set down. He places a stack of notes on the podium, pauses, then folds them in half and sets them aside. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. "I was asked to talk about leadership," he begins, voice steady but raw, "about growth, innovation, success. But I can't do that tonight." The room quiets. Every fork stops clinking. "Because I've learned success without honesty is just noise, and leadership without love is empty." His words cut through the air like glass. He glances across the room, his gaze locking on her silhouette at the back. The crowd disappears. It's only her. "There's a woman I met at a food truck," he says. "She woke before dawn every day, fed strangers with 2 hands and 1 griddle, and she never asked for anything back." Lila's throat tightens. She grips the edge of her glass, knuckles white. "She didn't care that I own a company. She cared if I said please. She cared if I remembered names. She cared that people mattered more than profits." His voice shakes. "And I lied to her," he admits. "Not because I wanted to hurt her, but because I was terrified she'd stop looking at me the way she did, like I was just a man, not a brand." A hush falls, heavy and electric. Gasps ripple at tables, whispers darting like sparks. He breathes deep, then lowers his tone. "Tonight, I'm not speaking as a CEO. I'm speaking as a man who fell in love with someone braver and kinder than anyone I've ever known." His eyes burn, locked on hers. "I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'll spend the rest of my life earning it." The silence stretches, thick with hearts beating too loud. No applause, no chatter, just stillness. He steps away from the podium, hands unclenched, and he begins walking straight through the crowd. Heads turn, whispers follow, but he doesn't look at anyone else. Only her. Lila's chest heaves, her pulse drums in her ears. She wants to run. She wants to stay. Adrian stops a few feet away, his voice low, almost breaking. "Lila, please." Her lips part, but no words come. Tears glass her eyes, though she doesn't let them fall. The crowd watches like theater, but the moment feels painfully private. 1,000 eyes, yet only 2 people truly present. She shakes her head faintly, a single word catching in her throat. "Why?" He whispers back, raw and unguarded. "Because you're the reason I ever believed I had a future." The ballroom holds its breath. Her own breath trembles, stuck between disbelief and recognition. She doesn't move toward him, but she doesn't walk away either. And for the first time since everything shattered, her heart cracks open just enough for the truth to slip back in. Morning breaks over Maplewood with a thin golden light. The streets are quiet, as if holding their breath. And at the corner of 5th and Alder, the Morning Haven truck stands again, doors unlocked, but no food cooking. Lila climbs inside, running her fingers along the counter. Every mark, every scratch, is a memory. She doesn't know why she opened it today, maybe just to remember who she used to be. Her breath stills when she senses movement outside. Adrian is standing a few feet away. No chauffeur, no suit, just jeans, a worn jacket, and eyes that look like he hasn't slept in days. "I didn't want to knock," he says softly. "Didn't want to force anything open." "You're persistent," she replies, folding her arms. He almost smiles. "So are you." The silence between them is thick, but not sharp anymore. It feels heavy, full of choices. Adrian reaches into a leather satchel and pulls out a folder. He holds it out with both hands, like it weighs more than paper. She hesitates, then takes it. Inside, a full proposal, Morning Haven expansion. 5 new locations, her name on every page. At the bottom, one line in bold majority ownership, 51%. Lila Monroe. She looks up, stunned. "You're giving me control," she whispers. He nods. "Because love isn't about owning, it's about offering." Her throat tightens. "Why would you give this up? Because you gave me more once," he says. "Half a sandwich, and a reason to live." Her hands shake. She can barely hold the folder. Then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small silver spoon, polished smooth with age. "This was your grandmother's," he says. "I had it restored." He kneels not with a ring, but with that spoon. "Lila Monroe." His voice trembles. "Will you be my partner in business? In life? In everything?" Tears spill down her cheeks. She lets out a shaky laugh. "Only if you promise never to pretend again." "Never," he whispers, eyes shining. She pulls him up into her arms, holding him like home. Outside, the city stirs, horns and footsteps resuming. But inside that truck, time stops. 6 months later, sunlight streams through stained glass windows of a small chapel on Maplewood Hill. The smell of fresh bread and coffee drifts in from next door, Morning Haven's new flagship cafe. Adrian stands at the altar, adjusting his jacket, nerves flickering across his face. His best man. James, once his driver, leans over. "She's not running." "Boss." Adrian exhales, still feels like a dream. Then the doors open. Lila steps inside, hair down, dress simple ivory. No bouquet, only the engraved spoon tied with a ribbon in her hand. Gasps ripple softly through the pews. Not because of the dress, but because of the light in her eyes. In the front row, Ethan claps loudly in an oversized suit, grinning like he invented joy. Beside him, neighbors from the food truck, old customers, even Mr. Ramsey with his cane, all gathered like family. The officiant smiles. "Do you, Adrian Cole, take Lila Monroe as your wife, your partner, your midnight taste test?" And Adrian's eyes glisten. "I do. Every morning, every night, forever." "And do you, Lila Monroe, take Adrian Cole as your husband, your co-founder, your not always handy sous chef?" She laughs through tears. "I do. Even if he still can't flip a pancake." The crowd bursts with laughter and applause. Then the kiss, imperfect, joyful, real. At the reception, the cafe walls gleam with new paint. Framed napkins line the brick, each one scribbled with thank yous from customers. In the center, under glass, hangs the napkin that started everything. The ink is faint, but still readable. "Don't forget, you still have a future." Guests mill around, sharing food, laughter, music. But for Adrian and Lila, the world narrows to the warmth of each other's hand. He leans close, whispering in her ear. "You saved me twice, once as a boy, and once as a man." She presses her forehead to his. "And you reminded me that love is still worth trusting." The band plays soft, the smell of coffee fills the air. Ethan sneaks an extra muffin, grinning when Lila spots him. Adrian lifts his glass, but doesn't toast profits or milestones. Instead, he says, "Here's to second chances, and to the people who give them." The room erupts in cheers, but the loudest sound is the quiet truth settling in both their hearts. Later, when the crowd thins, Lila lingers by the framed napkin. Her fingertips graze the glass, tracing the crooked letters. "Do you still believe it?" Adrian asks behind her. She turns, eyes soft. "Yes, because now that future is ours." They step outside, into the cool Maplewood night. Above them, the sign glows in fresh paint, Morning Haven, a future in every cup. They stand together under the lights, the city alive around them. And with one last squeeze of her hand, Adrian whispers, "Home isn't walls, it's you." The night air carries their laughter down Fifth and Alder. And for the first time, neither of them wonders about tomorrow, because they're already living the future they once promised each other. Thank you for spending your time with this story. If it touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little hope today. Your support helps us bring more stories of love, second chances, and the power of kindness. Until next time, take care of yourself, and may your days be filled with warmth and light.